One of the most important things in teaching for me is being genuine. And in my daily life, actually, is to be as genuine as I can. And what do I mean by being genuine? To me, being genuine is sitting at that place between nothing and everything and letting the most immediate thing there is that wants to come out into existence. That sounds so weird. Sounds like alien. If I put it in more regular terminology, it would go something like being really present and letting presence speak, rather than the person that is seeking to be something. And this, to me, is one of the most beautiful endeavors that there are in life, to be the instrument of God, or to be the instrument of consciousness, or everything, or whatever word resonates for you for this mystery. And you're right on the precipice of not knowing. So it's appearing from this radical mystery into existence through the form of Lisa. And there's nothing wrong with what a lot of teachers would call the ego or the seeker. There's nothing wrong with the seeker. But what the seeker does is it creates this fake identity in the person that the person is trying to live up to. And that's not wrong or bad, but the experience of it, watching it or being it, is stressful. Because it's a lie, it's not true, and it's hard work to maintain. This is one of the greatest things that my teacher, Roger Castillo, imparted with me, is in every given moment, do exactly what you feel like doing, knowing there's nobody doing anything. It's such a deep teaching, and it's so profound. And it's unfathomable to the person. Because the person can't do this. The person can't be like, oh, I'm going to be authentic. And It's the absence of you, which is authenticity. And you can hear authenticity in art, in someone expressing. It's a purity. It's what everybody's looking for, that purity. And that purity doesn't look like a particular thing. You can't mimic it. So the illusory self, the seeker, is mastery at mimicking it. You know, I've had people obsessively watch my videos, and I noticed that they try to mimic what I think an enlightened person would be like, so then they can feel validated. I don't even know if they know they're doing it. There might be moments where they suspect they're doing it, and then they go into the dream again, and it's all about getting approval, and they can't really see the getting approval. They just have the urge to get approval. Yeah. And I'm not condemning anything here, or judging, or making superiority. There's an attempt to call you back to something that you already are, that's free within. It's not something that you get in the timeline or you get through becoming. It's something that's already inherently here in everything. And it's not about yoga practice. It's not about taming your emotions. It's not about intellectual understanding. It's not anything that you imagine. It is a freedom of what you are. And it's the most precious gift that anyone can ever impart with you. You know, all of us are graced that it's come into our lives. And everybody will use it for the ego's advantage. But in doing that, eventually the ego, the illusory seeker, will collapse. And it's amazing how unpopular this message is. Like, it's really, you look on the internet and compared to other spiritual areas, it's really the underdog. It's really not of interest to people, but to me, it's the end game, the end boss. It is the end boss. That's all you've wanted. And it's more palatable often if it comes through the mouth of a man that looks spiritual or looks like he comes from India. I've noticed if you go on the internet and look at the popular teachers, this tends to be the most popular form. This, to me, it feels like this is often playing into that seeking game. this wise old man that we come across, that's written in lots of literature, this wise old man, and we come across, and there is a wise old woman in literature, and they're going to impart some secret with us, and then bum ba-dum, here we come. We have met the man of wisdom. We've been imparted. We've been anointed. We've been bumped on the head with wisdom. And now here we come. And it's all fake. These are all stories that we're, as a society, invested in. There is no becoming. Who would become? This is full stop. This is talking about something which isn't found in words. The problem with words is that, stories can resonate with us, and we don't have a narrative that the story is resonating with us. What happens is we become engrossed, even if we're telling the story. So even if we're becoming engrossed by some spiritual master, we're not aware that inside of us we have this story that's wanting to act out the archetypical hero's journey. And so we don't know that that's there. So we're looking at it and we're getting invested, but we don't know what we're feeling as we're like, yes, I'm going to become the next Superman. I'm going to become the next James Bond. I'm going to become the next, what's the character from Name of the Wind? Corp. Forgot his name. Harry Potter. What other, so many women ones as well. Yeah. She-Ra. We don't know that story is resonating in us because it's not like our mind is telling us the story. Now you are listening to this old man on YouTube and he's making you feel like you are one of the characters in the book that is going to become something. And this is making you feel special. This is making you feel better than. You're feeling superior. Like there's no narrative that's saying that. It's just picking up your energy and there's a drawing to it. Becoming something. Or it could be the father story, I got to get the father's approval and then I will become. Bum, bum, bum. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just all dream. But the dream doesn't come like a typed out story, like on Instagram, all the videos have these subtitles. It's not like the story of you is coming with the subtitles. It's like happens through these emotions and these feelings and this like subconscious that's like running in us. And we might have the other story, we might go the other way. It doesn't necessarily need to be positive. We see this old wise man and then it makes us feel like a bad boy or a bad girl. And we've got to sit here in our badness and our shame and our shitness. And actually there's some drawing to that because that story resonates in some way. Like in some way, maybe in your childhood, you got loved for being bad. Bad boy. Now, I'm a bit of a funny teacher because where do I sit with you? What story do I play for you? The story could be wanting to be like me. The story could be older man, like kind of having this feeling like you're teaching me in some way, so you're kind of tolerating me, but you really know better. And when we have a conversation, you'll show me how you know better than me. Could be angelic, like I'm like this angelic character that floats in like Tinkerbell. I'm really not a Tinkerbell. But you know, it depends what stories you've got. It's not what I am. I will fit whatever you need. I could be unthreatening, you know, because I'm a woman and I mean, I'm middle-aged now, but originally when I started, I was younger. So there could be this unthreateningness. There could be this competition element as well. And all of these will change the emotion and change the story in you. And you won't really notice that you're playing it. Because it's happening in the background. You know, your body will be moved in certain ways, but it's about this seeker becoming something. You know, like one of those birds that puff up its chest. Even if it's becoming something worse. Could be the lover story with me as well. Yeah. And none of that is it. That's all right. That sort of thing can be healing and good for the person to an extent, but it's none of that's it. You know, you want to slap them on the booty, out the way. That's all illusion, 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 illusion. The authenticity of who you truly are is sitting on that precipice between nothing and everything and letting nothing speak. I mean, that just sounds like loopy talk. Nothing speak. You what, love? You're going to let nothing speak? I can imagine saying that to my mum. I'm not allowed to speak about family, but I love what's happening in society at the moment. So on Bargain Hunt, if you're in the UK, they I think they had a non-binary child, so that they weren't called him or her. And my mum was like, well, I didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. And so we discussed gender and we had such a cool conversation. That was really cool. I really enjoyed it. But I don't think my mum's ready for me to say, Mum, you know, when I speak, it's not Lisa speaking, it's actually nothing. Or I'm actually sitting on the precipice between nothing and everything. She would change the subject tactic. Well, you never guess what I found in Marks and Spencer's the other day. They had some plums that were 50% off. Okay. So this is why sometimes I maybe come across a bit weird in my talks. If you're used to my talks and been listening for many years, maybe you don't find it weird. But often I just go silent, but that's because that's what the energy wants to do in that moment. And then you also might notice that sometimes I'm really hyper and then sometimes I'm really quiet. I'm just really following the energy that wants to express. So I'm not trying to maintain a steady character, even though I most probably do maintain a steady character, because that's what our bodies are meant to do. Like there's the movement can be rapid because I don't care about that. As the least interesting part about interaction. You know, when you discover love, why do you want to fuck about with all these things of not love? And when I mean not love, I mean denying yourself, pretending to be something you aren't, which is not love. It is love ultimately, but in the experience of it, it's a disconnection from who you are. So it feels like not love. And this is the most important thing there is. This is higher than everything. This is the highest truth. And I have to say, just as a disclaimer, I'm not always authentic with being myself because there's not been a readiness yet to be able to negotiate with people that aren't being themselves and be able to maneuver with people that aren't being themselves without them being afraid of you, locking you up, feeling really insecure around you. But there's more of a readiness now. Like in these talks and with spiritual people, it's okay, but then you go and, navigate if they're the cleaning lady or the gardener, and suddenly the energy says, be quiet. And it does. I could be mid-conversation and suddenly the energy just wants to go really quiet. And then I watch the other person, scramble around in insecurity, not knowing what's happening. And the energy doesn't even want to explain, it just wants to suddenly be quiet. But yeah. That's the most important thing there is. No compromise. So let me just go back to the title because I feel like I've not even addressed the title now. What is the essence of every human and how are we all connected? Yeah, so the essence of every human, are you ready for it? Is nothing. Or if we want to be a bit more pleasing to the masses, we could say mystery. mystery, mystery. Mystery. And we're all connected, because when there is a sinking into mystery, when you're no longer a character, but it's recognized what you truly are, and there is a movement back to that, then nothing is separate. Separation is a mental activity that's happening, that's creating an I that's separate from you. And there is a movement to this moment, then there is no separate I to you. It's absolute love. There's no division. Division comes from storytelling and from naming things. It doesn't come in experience. In experience, there is no time, there is no space. There is only what is, which is happening and not happening. And it's experiencing itself. So there is a knowing of what is. But there's not a separate knower of what is. This is not an activity that you do, but something that happens, and there seems to be a settling in doing this activity, is putting the attention in I am, the sense of I am, or the sense of consciousness, or the personal awareness. So putting the personal awareness in the personal awareness. Another way of saying it is becoming present. So Buddhists would use putting the attention on the breath. But notice that there's still someone that's doing that, but in the moment of doing it, there can just be a disappearing of that someone that's doing it, and then just what is. It also tames the mind. The mind gets so out of control because of this belief that I am somebody that's separate and I have to be something. I have to be good. I have to be better than. I have to have all these things. And if I don't have all of this, I will be unhappy. My life is dependent on time. And that's very stressful, and it creates a very over-exaggerated, exemplified, exacerbated mind. So putting the attention in awareness or in the I am can work as a practice to settle the mind down. But there's so many other things you can do to settle the mind down. You can look that up on the internet. I have a reference page on my website. You can look at different ideas of things to do. But that one that's doing those things isn't the one that's going to become this. What is it that's experiencing that? What is it that's experiencing the one that wants to become something? So the one that wants to become something is being watched by something. What is that? That is a fascinating question. What is that? Okay, so if anyone has any questions, you can ask in Telegram, please.